Hi, welcome to Dragonmount DIY. I am your host, Maureen or Mashiara. I go by either of those names. Today, I'm going to show you how to do mosaic crochet. So, mosaic crochet is actually a really fun technique, method of crochet that can turn out some really, really interesting images. So, I'm going to hop on over here and show you just real quick. That's not the one I want. There we go. What our pattern's going to look like. And then also just some other examples of mosaic crochet. So mosaic crochet typically just uses two colors, a background color and then a outline color. And then just by using double crochets in front or a single crochet in the back, you can make these really interesting patterns. So this is the one we're going to work on today, the Save Watt little banner. Since, as everybody knows by now, that Wheel of Time has been canceled, but we are fighting to get it renewed. We are hopeful that somebody's going to pick it up. Something's going to happen. We're going to remain cautiously optimistic. So this is actually really easy pattern, a lot easier than it looks. It looks a lot more impressive than it's going to turn out to be. So this one, unfortunately, I used a smaller hook, so you can see my tension is not the best. It's we're going to use a bigger hook. So if you are a typical crocheter, you're going to need a 5.5 and a 5mm crochet hook. You're going to use the 5.5 to just do the start of the row, and then you'll use the 5 regularly. I'm going to do a 6mm for my beginning row and then a 5.5, and that's going to be a little bit better just for my tension. So let me get a better one. So I think this was the best one so far. So the fun thing about mosaic crochet is that it does have these cute little fringes at the end. So I don't know if you've seen recently, they're kind of popular. They're called mug rugs. And you can do them with punch needle or crochet or whatever, but they have these tiny little tassels on the end, and I really like that. It's super cute. So once these are done, you do trim them, or you can even weave them in and not have them at all. But I think they're just an adorable little addition to the whatever this is. We couldn't quite figure out if it's a tapestry, if it's a coaster. I think if I try to put my coffee here, it could be a coaster. It would fit, but it could just be something cute to have on your desk or hang it on your wall or whatever. So one thing I am going to do is I'm going to post the link to the alphabet pattern in the comments, because this is done by a crocheter called Beba Blankets, and it's an amazing pattern. I tried to write my own, and it was way too tricky. So definitely I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to, post this here. You can check this out. It's a free pattern. It's on Ravelry, or you can go to her website, babablanket.com, and it's there as well. Really highly recommend this pattern. It's super cute, super easy to do. So one other thing I wanted to show is I worked on this one a couple days ago. This one's a little bit more advanced because it has color changes within the rows. Typically, mosaic crochet is just two colors. Oops, squish it up. So I tried to do this adorable little cow. Again, I just really like the fringe on the sides. But if you look at the back, I mean, it's not even super gross. One thing you can do is just get a piece of felt and hot glue it around here, kind of like what you would do with a cross stitch back or something, some embroidery. You could do that, but really it doesn't matter. This one I think is absolutely perfect for a mug rug. See, it's perfect. Totally the right size. Another thing I'm going to do that's slightly different from a typical mosaic crochet is when you're doing mosaic crochet, typically you start each row with just a single crochet. If you can't tell, this is a Dutch Brothers coffee. Mosaic crochet and getting ready to start. So typically you just start each row with a single crochet in that color, and it gives you this border where you can see the colors really clearly. I'm not a super huge fan of that. So for this tutorial, I'm going to skip that. And we're just going to start with our front loop double crochet. Okay, so you can see the colors are kind of here on the end with the tassels, but it doesn't have that starting single crochet in that color. I think this looks, oops, sorry, a little bit more clean. I do like saying mug rug. Yes, Tom, that is a very fun word to say, mug rug. One other thing I did want to show, these are the Mosaic crochets I did last year, which kind of was an introduction to Mosaic crochet for me. There was a cottage core crochet along, and super cute. So this was a teapot. There are some errors there, which I can see very clearly, but you can see the background color and then the front color. I mean, it just looks so beautiful. It just absolutely pops. And then this one is a little bit more difficult to see. So you can see how the background can really help make the image more visible. This one, the background was just the alternating colors. And that's what happens when you only do 2 colors. I think if I introduced a 3rd color for this one, it would have been a little bit better, but I think it still turned out so adorable to snail, if you can't tell. And so that was a really, really fun. It was like a cottage core Mosaic crochet along by, I can't even remember the name of the artist now. All right, and this is what our pattern is going to look like today. So if you are, if you've Mosaic crocheted before, you might be able to recognize this. If not, please don't worry about it. We're going to go step by step. It's really not as scary as it looks. But just real quick, if you're looking at this pattern, you can see on the right-hand side, it does alternate between the 2 colors, the A color and the B color. And it is up to you which colors you choose. This is why it's kind of fun. It's really customizable. You want to do it in your Aja colors, awesome. You want to do it in your sports team colors. My husband actually suggests I do this one in orange and purple for the Phoenix Suns, or black and gold for any Pittsburgh team. But the black I nixed because black's hard to see, and then the orange and purple just looked kind of gross together. So I did orange and beige is what I'll do, because they have a nice contrast. Definitely a better contrast color. Sorry, is going to help you see it a lot. So this is like a dark blue. I think it's called peacock, and white. Another one I did that was the pink one. I used a sparkly. There we go. I did a sparkly white, and you can't even tell, but so it's really up to you. Very, very customizable. All right, so over on the right, you can see we have the AB. We just alternate each row. And the fun thing is that we cut it at the end. So we would attach the blue yarn, go across and cut it, attach the white yarn, go across and cut it. So we're always working on the front side of the work. And then that's how we keep these cute little tassels at the end. We just cut it. So very nice, very easy. No weaving in ends if you don't want to, which is a lifesaver, because I know 99% of crocheters do not like weaving in ends. So looking at this pattern, we have 2 different crochet stitches we're going to be using. We're going to be using a front loop double crochet or a back loop single crochet. And it's actually really interesting because this is binary. It's either one or the other. Those are their only 2 options. And so I do like to talk about how math is integral, very important to crochet. And this is another example of that. It's just, you're doing a binary pattern. It's one or the other, one or the other. So looking at this, we can see, okay, so row 1, we're just going to do in our background color. Row 2, we're going to do in the lettering color. Nothing special there. But once we get to row 3, that's where we start getting these X's. So an X is going to symbolize that we're going to do a drop down double crochet into the front loop 2 rows below. Okay, and that gets us the, it covers up the other color. And it's, oh God, I'm really explaining it poorly. I apologize, but it's going to be really cool. And once I show you, it'll be a lot easier than it sounds, because I know my words aren't wording correctly right now. So anytime it has an X, we're going to do a double crochet 2 rows lower. And then if it does not have an X, we just do a single crochet in the back. Okay, and that's how we get, is this going to be the color that I'm using, or is it going to be the color next round get covered up by the opposite color? Oh my God. Okay, I apologize. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our Sorry. Oh my God. I don't know what happened. I apologize. I hit a button and then it went away. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you for your patience. One thing I did, I changed all my my setup to my craft room, which is a lot more comfortable than I was before, which was the office with our library and our bookshelves. And it was kind of ugly behind me. So now I'm really happier it's here, but I'm still trying to get the layout of everything. So, okay. So as I said, you're going to need 2 different colors. Definitely contrasting is going to be your best bet. If you do 2 light pinks, it's not going to pop as much as it could. But again, it's your project. You do whatever you want to. You're going to need 2 crochet hooks. Typically, a person would need a 5mm hook. So you want a 5mm hook and then a 5.5. The 5.5 will just be for that very first row, just to help with your tension. I'm going to use a 6mm for my first row, and then I'm going to use a 5.5mm throughout. So we're going to start with our background color. You get to choose whichever one works for you. I'm going to do the darker for my background. Just looking at a couple of these as examples, I think it looks a little bit better when the background color is darker. Okay, but that's just personal preference. Does not matter. All right, so I'm going to start with my darker color. I am using Rust, Big Twist Value Rust, like a burnt orange. See if I can find my pull string. Nope. Okie dokie. We'll just pull this one. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to put my yarn on the ground. Again, since we're going to be cutting it each row, it does not matter if it's gets tangled easily or anything, because we're going to cut it. We can untangle it in just a couple minutes. So I'm going to start with my 6mm hook. If you're following along, I'm going to suggest you use a 5.5 hook. Start with our simple slip knot. Put it on your hook. Okay, I'm assuming you know the basics of this, so we're not going to necessarily go into the tutorials of how to do this. So I'm assuming you at least know how to do a chain. So we're going to start with 45 chains. So please bear with me as I count to 45. Okay, 25. All right, so I chained 45 with my larger hook. I got a little bit wonky right there, but don't worry about it. Our crochet pieces are never perfect, so don't expect perfection, and that's okay. All right, so I did 45 chains with my, I'm sorry, did I do it too fast? Yarn guts instead of fish guts, that's perfect. So I'm going to switch out to my 5.5. All right, and so now I need to go back and I'm going to do 45 single crochets. So I need to chain 1 first. And now in each of those chains, I'm going to do a single crochet. So I'm just going to wind up with 45 single crochets all the way across. So I just go into that top loop. Some people like to do the back bump. Some people like to go into the front and the bottom loop. Again, there's no right or wrong way, and people that say it's right or wrong are lying, because you can do whatever you want with art. 100% up to you. So these first 2 rows are going to be the easiest just because we're doing just normal single crochets for now. The next row as well is just going to be single crochets, okay, but we're going to be doing them in the back loop only. I've been crocheting for, I don't know, 6 years, I think, and my tension is still so wonky. It's not something I've really tried to work on, so maybe that's why. Instead of fixing my tension, I just always go up like a whole hook size. But I think if your tension is better than my tension, you don't get the turning of the chain, and your finished pieces don't have that little turn up at the end. I block my finished product, so I really don't care if it's turned up at the end because I'll fix it later. Okay, almost to the end. Okay, last one. All right, I am going to just double count that I have 45 because I'd rather discover that now than later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Uh-oh, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. I got 46. Let me double check. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 30, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. All right, perfect. All right, so I do have 45. I know a lot of crocheters will jokingly say, like, once you start crochet, you learn that you don't know how to count. And this is 100% accurate. Sometimes you don't know how to count. Once I get into the 60s, I usually struggle. All right, so we are done with this first row. So when I change colors, I chain 2. Typically you chain 1, but I like chaining 2. Oh shit, I don't have my scissors. They're all the way over there. Sorry. So I'm going to chain 2. And so just to try to make sure that I have the same length on each row, I will try to cut it. Like I have a specific place where I cut it in my fingers. I'll show you on the next row because I kind of messed that one up. Once you chain 2, if you pull it really tight, it makes a double knot. And then if you just pinch it and slide it, oh, damn, there. It makes it really, really tight, and it's really hard to get rid of. It's possible because I've messed up before several times, and you can pick it apart and undo it if you made a mistake, but it's a lot harder to do. All right, so there we have row 1, just 45 single crochets all the way across. All right, so now we're moving on to our next color. So I picked this kind of beige-y. Let's pull back up our pattern real quick again. There he is. Okay, so we just finished row 1, which is all A. So it's all that dark color I did. Now we're going to go to row B, which is going to be all the lighter color. So as you can see on row 2 for B going all the way across, there are some colorations there, but nothing is an X. So since it's not an X, we're just going to go single crochets all the way across. Once we get to row 3, where there are some X's, then I'll explain the difference between the stitches and how we can determine which one we're doing. Okay, but right now, does not really matter too much. We're just going to do our single crochets. All right, so we're going to start with a slip knot. Okay, again, I want to leave a little bit of an end so I can have that little frill because I like it. Again, that's personal preference. All right, so here's where we're going to deviate from a typical mosaic crochet pattern. So as I said, you typically start just with a single crochet normal. Okay, it just looks like this. And that's fine, and that's kind of cute. I like that you can see the different colors. But for my cow one, I don't like it because it's not even. There's a random white right here, and there's a random pink right here, and it's just not my favorite. So I'm going to nix this, and instead we're just going to start right here with our first row. So to do that, I'm just going to do a standing back loop single crochet. So a standing single crochet, you just start with your yarn on your hook just like normal. And when we go into the back loop and we yarn over and pull through, typically we would pull through that other loop to do a slip stitch and then do our single crochet. Instead, I'm just going to complete my single crochet right there. Okay, and this is called a standing single crochet. You can do it with any stitch, so a standing double crochet, single crochet, whatever. And so it's just already a single crochet ready to go. I don't have that little hump that you get sometimes when you chain one and then do a single crochet. Okay, so that's ready to go. I did it in a back loop. So remember, any single crochet is going to be in the back loop for this project. So I'm just going to single crochet in the back loop all the way across. It's going to give me 45 of these light brown single crochets. It looks like a pumpkin pie now that I'm looking at it. Like the burnt orange rust color definitely looks like pumpkin pie, and then this lighter brown looks like the crust. And now I think I really would like some pie. So just a quick reminder, when you're looking at your stitches, you have your front loop here and your back loop here. And typically when crocheting, you go through both. Okay, but for this one, we're only using that back loop. Okay, this is going to be because that front loop is how we're going to do our double crochets. When we do our next row, that's the dark orange, we're going to go down and grab that front loop. Okay, so just single crochet all the way across. Okay, hopefully not too tricky so far. So since we are talking about Save Watt right now, definitely if you have not, go sign the petition. It is getting really, really high, those numbers. So that's fantastic. And I know it's kind of heartbreaking. I think Rosamund Pike a couple days ago did kind of say a farewell and hang up her ring, but we're hoping that that's just, we can convince her to put it back on if we can get it renewed. Definitely, it's not finished yet. We need it to keep going. We still have characters we need to meet and parts of the story that need to be told and places in the world we want to explore. So I don't know. As I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I don't know. I don't want to give up hope. Okay, we're gonna, do just two more. Last one in that last back loop. Okay. So now we have our, God, my tension. I'm so sorry. So we have our dark, maybe I should even go up a bigger size. Our dark orange, and then the next one is that light brown, kind of tan-ish pie crust color. So I'm done with this color. I'm going to chain two and cut my yarn. So now I can't even freaking remember how I do this. It always works until you try to show somebody. So just cut my yarn, you pull it through, tighten it, and then just slide it on down. It's like an indestructible knot. I freaking love it. Okay, not too tricky so far. So I'm going to switch back to my orange. See if it got untangled yet. No, it's still tangled. That's okay. All right, and I'm going to start with a slip knot. Make sure I leave a tail for my little fringe. Looks perfect. All right, so now let's take a look at our pattern and see exactly what it is we're doing. All right, so now we finished 1 and 2. We're on row 3. So we look at row 3, we can see we're in color A, which is my background color. That's the dark orange. And you can see we start with 4 X's. So that means that that orange is dropping down to cover the color below it. So I think it might just be easier if we show what it looks like. So again, I'm going to do a standing. Oh, shit, I got to get rid of that sign. So I'm going to do a standing double crochet. So I pretend like I'm already attached. I'm just going to yarn over. So I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going in. Oh, no, I'm sorry. For this one, I do slip stitch. All right, so I'm going to slip stitch just to the back. Okay, and now I'm going to do my double crochet. So yarn over. I'm skipping this brown color and I'm going all the way down to the orange. And this is kind of a fun use for your hook. You can just hook it and slide it under. Okay, and then I do like to give it an extra tug just to make sure it's going up as high as it needs to. Okay, and we got a nice orange double crochet that covers up the brown behind it. Okay, and since I had 4 X's, that means I need to do this 4 times. So I yarn over, skipping that stitch, and I'm going underneath the front loop of 2 rows below. Yarn over, pull through that stitch. I'm going to pull it a little bit loose, and then do my double crochet. Once more, I'm going to go in here, yarn over, pull it a little bit loose, complete my double crochet. Last time, yarn over, go through that front loop, pull it a little bit loose, and double crochet. See if I can lay it flat. There we go. Okay, so now I have my 4 double crochets starting that row, which covers that beige. So we can start, this is going to be our T. Save what? T is going to be the last one. So this is going to be our T. So since I want this one to stay brown, because it's going to be part of my letter, this is where I go back behind and do my back loop single crochet. Okay, so this is where we get into the binary. Is it this one right here going to be brown? Then we go back. If this right here needs to be covered up and it's going to be orange, we go forward. So it's really, I don't know, I just really enjoy this. I don't know, this method, this technique, it's just super cool. All right, so going back to this, we can see we did 4 double crochets. We have 1 that's not an X, that was our back loop single crochet. And now we're in between the T and the O. So we have to do 2 more double crochets. And so it is a little bit easy to get mixed up. So what I like to do is I like to double check that this was the stitch I just did, which is that one, which means I need to go into this next double crochet right there. Okay, again, that hook, if you just use it to grab it, it's kind of fun. Okay, and I'm going to pull it loose and go into the next one. Okay, it looks just like this. Okay, so we had 4 orange, 1 brown, 2 orange. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I forget that that thing's not there. Go away. Thank you. Okay, so that's going to be our T. This is our space. Now we're working on our O. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3 in the back loop. Okay, so I just did this one. That means this one's my next one. I'm going to do the back loop here. Just take that extra second to make sure you're aligning it properly. It is easy to get confuzzled and go into the same stitch twice. Okay, that's going to be my O. Okay, now we're moving on to the W. So I have 1 double crochet. And then, well, let's just take it one at a time. Okay, so 1 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going into this one right here. Just grab it with my hook. Pull it a little bit looser. Okay, so that's my T, that's my O. Now I'm moving on to my W. Okay, the W is kind of big. So for the W, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back loop single crochets. Okay, so I just did this one. That means I'm here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh no, now I am completely stuck. There we go. All right. So that's going to be our W. So that's our T, that's our O. Here's our W. Okay, and we can see we have a space in between. So we're going to do 1 double crochet, separate the E and the W. Okay, so I did that one. That means I'm going into this one right here, going down to grab that front loop. Pull it, make it kind of loose. Okay, T, O, W. Okay, now we're moving on to the E. All right, so the E, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 back loops. Okay, so I did this one. That means I'm right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It looks very good so far. Okay, that was our E. Now we can see that we have the V. So if you're looking at this pattern, the V looks kind of weird because it's disjointed. There's nothing in this row right now that's going to work with the V. This is because we're going to have to do one kind of slanted. Okay, so that row 4, the next one we're doing is probably the trickiest row because we're going to make some slanted stitches to make that V. You could do it more block letters and not have that slant, and that would be fine. But I was following, again, this pattern by Beba Blanket, which has it this way. She also has a tutorial online that goes into how to do these slanted stitches for these letters. But I'm going to show you the way I did it, and I think it turned out fine. So we just finished the E. We can see we have 3 double crochets coming up next. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 double crochets. So I just did that one right here. That means this one's next. Grab it with my hook. That's 1. Go into the next one. That's 2. And go into the next one. That's 3. Okay, so that was our T, our O, our W, our E. Okay, now we're moving on to our V, which is a little bit tricky. All right, so you can see we have 1 back loop for that V point, and then we're going to have 3 double crochets after that. So we can do that all at once. Okay, we're going to go into this back loop. That's our V point right there. And then I'm going to do 3 double crochets. Okay, you can tell that it's symmetrical. The V should be symmetrical, right? We had 3 double crochets to start, our point, and then 3 double crochets at the end. Okay, looking pretty good so far. All right, after the V, we have our A. So we can see we have 1 back loop for our A. That's going to be the A's little leg, I guess, is what you call that. And then 2 double crochets. So that's the one we just did. Going to this one next. Oops. 1 and 2. Okay, and then the next leg of the A was just a back loop. Okay, so that was our T, our O, our W, our E, our V. It's going to go like that. And that's our A. Okay, it doesn't look like much now, but eventually it will. All right, so after the A, we have one double crochet. Okay, so we just did that stitch. We're going to do this one now. Okay, moving on to the S. Okay, so the S, we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 back loops. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, for the S. And now we're moving on to the hashtag. So it looks like 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. All right, so we're going to do 2 double crochets. So I just went into this one. So that means this is my next stitch right there. We're going to do 2 double crochets. Okay, we're going to do a back single crochet and then a front double crochet, a back single crochet, and then we're going to end with 3 double crochets. Okay, which is this one. There's 1, 2, and that last stitch is a double crochet. Okay, and just like before, I'm going to chain 2. And slice that string, pull it through, tighten it, and then just slide it on down. All right, beautiful. It doesn't look like much right now, but it actually is not super tricky, right? It's just 2 stitches, one or the other. I think the hardest part is just figuring out the pattern, whether you're going into the front or whether you're going into the back. All right, we are going to move back to our light brown. Except now I got them all tangled even more. Lovely. Yarn Guts. It's going to be my new go-to swear. So thank you, Rapunzel, for that. Best idea ever. Okay. Yeah, we're all just tangled into something. All right. Let's just move on. All right. So let's take a look at the next pattern. So that was row 3. We just finished. So we've done 1 in orange, which was the A row. B was the gray, or sorry, the brown. 3 was orange, and now we're back to 4, which is going to be the brown. All right, so you can see going here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That starts the row with our back single crochets. And then notice in the T, now we have the X going down. Okay, this is going to be covering up the row below it, and that's how we get those letters to pop. Right, so I'm going to start with my single crochet. Start with my slip knot. Okay, and I'm going to do a standing single crochet into the back of that row. Okay, so just go on, grab the yarn, come out, and then complete my single crochet. Okay. I just think that gives it a nice, pretty look. So we're going to go ahead and do 3 more of these for 4 total. 4 back loop single crochets. Okay, and that gets us to the start of our T. So this is where we're going to do our front loop double crochet. So again, we're skipping the orange and we're going down to the brown. Grab it just like we did before, pull it a little bit loose, and then complete our double crochet. Okay, so now we can see that's how we're going to get our letters to pop. Okay, this is actually a really good contrasting color. Pops pretty good. Okay, now we're going to do 2 back loop. Okay, and now we're on the O. So we're going to do a double crochet into that first stitch. Okay, and O has an empty middle, so we're going to do a back single crochet, and then that's the other side. So we're going to do a front loop double crochet. Okay, eventually you just kind of get a feel for it because you might be familiar with the American alphabet. If you, I mean, I think most languages use similar characters, but I think you'll be able to start recognizing that, oh, this is going to be an O, so it has to be orange in the middle. And this is going to be an E. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a W. That's the E. So we're going to have to make 3 lines going up. So eventually you can just see that it's kind of gets a little bit intuitive as we get further into this. All right, so we finished the O. We're moving on to the W. So we can see we're going to have 1 back, 1 front, 1 back, 1 front, 1 back, 1 front. Okay, so it's kind of feeling how a W should look. So we're going to go back first. Back loop, single crochet. Okay, and this is our W. So we're going to do a double, a back, a double, a back, and a double. So going into this first stitch, 1 double crochet. Next one, back, single crochet. Next one, a front double crochet. Okay, and then a back single crochet. And then a front double crochet. Okay, so it might be a little bit tricky to tell, but eventually we're going to color that in with orange and it becomes a lot more apparent what that is. So it's really funny. I was practicing this at the zoo because sometimes I'll just go to the zoo and crochet. And I'm just counting out loud like 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 4, 1. And this guy showed up behind me. And I'm just sitting there saying numbers to myself. It was kind of weird. It's like, dude, don't listen to me count my stitches. It's strange. Go away. All right, so we just finished our W. Now we're on our E. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 back loops. Okay, right here is 1. Here is 2. Here is 3. And then that one is 4. Okay, and the next one we're going to do a front loop double. Okay, we're going to cover those up. So we can see our E is going to go like this, and then it has its prongs here and here. I don't know if this is intimidating, just trust the process. I promise it's not so scary. All right, now we're at the scary part. All right, so now we have to do this V and we have to get it slanted. So let's take a look and see, because I wrote it out in English directions for me. I'm actually just going to copy and paste that into the chat. So if you are, Peggy says, you can't see. Can somebody else verify that it's okay? That my video is all right? Because I'm super new to this and have no idea how to do anything. Oh, dang, it sent it twice. That's weird. Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. Again, I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. So in the chat, I posted the next step for the V. So actually, this is the whole entire row, but we're going to where we see the front loop double crochet slant. So we just did our 4 back loops for our E. So now we're going to do our 1 front loop, 1 back loop. Oh, that was our 1 front loop. All right, so we're going to do the next back loop single crochet. Okay, so now we would be putting our stitch in this one right here. but I need to go all the way over to here for my V. So even though I'm coming from kind of far away, I'm going to do a front loop double crochet. And it looks like I'm skipping 2, but this stitch actually goes in this. So I'm only going to skip 1. So I'm going to go into the front. I'm going to do my double crochet. Okay. And again, so this one lines up with that stitch right here. So there's our back. Here's our front. Okay. And now I need to skip 2 stitches. So I'm going to skip this one and this one. And I'm going to do a back loop, single crochet in the next one. Okay, now I'm on this stitch, and again, that's going to be our slant going forward. So I'm going to do another front loop, double crochet. Okay, and that was in that stitch. And then the next one is just a back loop, single crochet. Okay, let's just take a look real quick and see what that looks like. So I had 3 stitches each down here. I have a post next to it, and I'm going to have a post here. And then notice I have 1, 2 that goes into my V, 1 space, and then a V, and then another one. So again, it's symmetrical. It should look exactly the same on both sides. So I have a stitch, and I have a stitch, and I have a V, and I have a V, and I've got that one single in the middle right there. So on one of these, I didn't do it exactly right, and it wasn't symmetrical, and it looks weird. So I do want to emphasize it has to be symmetrical. Right now, I'm going to do a front post double crochet in this next one. Sorry, front loop double crochet. Sorry, I'm doing the alpine stitch with another project currently, so I'm thinking about posts instead of loops. All right. So I have my double crochet. I've got a back loop. I've got a slanted to the right. I've got a back loop. I got a slanted to the left. I got a back loop, and then I got a double crochet. Okay, and if it doesn't look exactly right, let's see. One of these I messed up. Okay, so this one you can see I did it wrong. This loop should have gone all the way over here instead of there. And you know, it doesn't look super bad. It's you can tell that there's a mistake, but again, it's art. It doesn't need to be perfect. All right, so since we finished that part of the V, now we're on our A. So that's one leg of the A. We're going to do a back loop single crochet and a back loop single crochet and then a front loop double crochet. Okay, it's going to be the 2 parts of our A. Go back 1 single crochet. This is our S. So we're going to do a front loop double crochet. Okay, and now we're going to do our back loops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back loop single crochet 1, back loop single crochet 2, oops, back loop single crochet 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now we're on the hashtag. So the hashtag is going to go down. So we're going to do a double crochet there, a back loop single crochet there, front loop double crochet there. Okay, and then we're going to end the row with 3 back loop double crochets. Oops. Okay, I'm going to chain 2 and cut my yarn, pull it through, tighten it, and then slide it on down. Okay. Already, I think it looks really cool. Like, even though you can't tell exactly what it says, I think it just looks really super neat. All right, so that's our T, our O, our W. That'll be our E, our V, our A, and our S. And then that's going to be our hashtag. So in the next row, we're going to cover those up. So you can see that's the line going across. Okay, we're done with our brown. Let's move back to our orange. This is just reignited a passion for mosaic crochet for me, so I am just doing all sorts of mosaic crochet patterns. I'm looking online for so many. It's just so versatile. You can do so many things. So I haven't mentioned yet this stream, but I am a fourth grade teacher. And so I think just having mosaic crochet things in my classroom is going to be amazing. Like I can make math signs and I can do my name and I can do kids' names or I can do, I don't know. There's so many things I can apply this to in my math teacher profession. So I'm super excited. All right, let's pull back up our little image. Okay, so that was row 4. Okay, we're almost halfway done because there's only 11 rows total. So now we're moving on to row 5. We can see that's row A, which is our background color, which will be our dark orange for this one. Okay, and then we're going to start with 4 front loop double crochets. Okay, so I'm going to start with my slip knot. Leave a longer tail than normal just because I like that fringe. Okay, I'm going to slip stitch to the back loop only. And then I'm going to do a front loop double crochet into that first stitch. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that loop. Nope, the whole loop. There we go. And do a double crochet. Okay, go on to the next one. Grab the orange, do a double crochet. Double crochet in the next one. And then double crochet in that last one. Okay, so you can see that covered up all those browns we didn't want to see. Okay, I'm going to tighten that a little bit. Okay. Again, it's starting to get a little bit intuitive. We can see that that's the T. So we're going to do a back loop, single crochet there. This is the space in between the T's and the O, sorry. So we're going to do 2 front loop double crochets. Okay, now the O, back loop, front loop, and back loop. Okay, so we can see for the next row when we do brown, that T is going to come down, the O is going to come down, and we can see that we got our little orange right there in the middle. Okay, this is our W. So we're going to do a front loop double crochet, back loop single crochet, front loop double crochet, back loop single crochet, front loop double crochet, back loop single crochet, and then a front loop double crochet there. Okay, starting to look sort of like a W. Okay, now let's look at the E. I am just going to double check the pattern to see where our next line comes in. Okay, so we can see we're going to just do a double crochet for the next 3 stitches. Okay, so we're going to cover up those 3 pieces. That's not our line that comes out for the E. We'll do that the next round. So front loop double, front loop double, and then a front loop double. Okay. Oh, it looks so cute. I love it. This makes my heart so very happy. All right, so this is our E. So we're going to do a back loop here. Okay, now we need to finish our V, which was a little bit tricky. So remember we skipped 2 stitches here. So that means we need to add 2 stitches to make our stitch count back to 45. So we're going to do 1 double crochet here to cover up that space between the V and the E. Okay, we're going to do a back loop here because this is where our V is going to come down. Let me just double check that. Okay, we did our 4 front loops, 1 back loop, 1 front loop, 1 back loop. And then, yes, okay. I've done this pattern like 18 times, but it's always best to double check. All right, so that's where our V is going to come out of. So now I need to cover up this part. And again, we needed to add those 2 extra stitches. So I'm going to do 3 front post double crochets, but the post is kind of hidden underneath those slanted V's. Okay, so it's all the way down here. So you got to stick your hook underneath that V to grab that front loop. Okay, we're going to do 3 total in here. Okay, so we're going to have our V coming up from here, and then our V coming up from here. So the next one we're going to do is a back loop single crochet in the next piece of that V. And then we're going to do a front loop double in the next stitch. Okay, again, we're looking for symmetry. We want it to be even on both sides. So we have our front loop double, we have our slanted, we have our back loops, and then we have our 3 right there. Okay. Very nice, very clean. All right, that was our A. So we're going to do our back loop single crochet. The middle of the A is covered up, so we're going to do 2 front loop double crochets. Oh, wait, let me double check on that. Because the A might be low. You're right. It is low. Okay, so never mind. We're going to do only back loop single crochets there. Go away. Sorry, so that is the line for the A. The line for the A is really low for some reason. So we're just going to do back loops all along the A. Okay, so that's going to be the A part that goes across like that. Okay, we're going to do our front loop double crochet in between the A and the S. Okay, back loop here. And then let's double check to see if that part is the S or not. That part is not the S, so we're going to cover it up. So we're going to do front loop double crochets. Cover up those brown lines. That was 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do 1 more for the space between the hashtag and the S. Okay, so that's our A. Here's our S. Okay, here's our hashtag. So we want all those lines to show. So we're going to do back loop, single crochet in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then front loop in the last 2. So back loop, back loop, back loop, back loop, back loop. Get our hashtag, and then we're going to do front loop double crochets in those last 2 stitches. Okay, I'm going to chain 2 and cut my yarn. Pull it tight and then slide it. Here we go. All right, very cute so far. That's our T, our O, our W, our E, our V, our A, our S, and our hashtag. I really like the way these colors look together. They're very good and contrasting. All right, so that was the end of row 5. Okay, so now we're on row 6, which is going to be our B color, which is our brown. Okay, so I'm going to start with my single crochet. Sorry, I'm starting with a slip knot, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, start with our slip knot. And we're going to do 4 back loop single crochets. Okay, so again, I like to do a standing single crochet, just like the look that gives me. It makes the color standing out over here a lot less noticeable. It's going to be mostly orange, which I like. Okay, so that's 1. Here's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we can see that that's going to be our T. So we're going to do a front loop double crochet there. Okay, back loop, back loop. Here's our O. So we're going to do a front loop double crochet, back loop for the center, another front loop for the other side of the O. Okay, and that does complete our O. I did a lowercase o for this, so the O is going to stop right there. Okay, next we're going to do a back loop single crochet between the W and the O. Now a front loop double, back loop single, a front loop double, back loop single, and then a front loop double. Okay, back loop single. Okay, so there we can see our W. That's going to stop the middle, but the other two are going to go up one more. Make it look like a nice capital W. Hey, here's our E. We're going to just do back loops here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a front loop double to do the, what you would call that, the side of the E. Okay, so that's going to be the line coming out. We're going to do another one up and then have the rest of the E come out that way. Okay, we're at our V. We're going to do a back loop single, front loop double. Okay, back loop in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then a front loop double there. Back loop. All right. So again, definitely stressing, make sure that V is symmetrical. Like that was the hardest part, was just making sure that it looks like a V. So we had our slants, and now we're just going to go up. We're going to cover in that middle part with that orange. Okay, and you can see I got a little bit of a bump right there. That's just because we, added more stitches. It looks a little bit lumpy. When I did this pink one, the lump is very noticeable. 2 things for that: I used a smaller hook size. And I also, this white yarn is a little bit lighter weight than the pink yarn. So kind of double mistakes there, but it's okay. If I block it, it'll be fine. Okay, we're moving on to the A. So I'm going to do a front loop double crochet for the right side of the A. That's our piece that goes across. So I'm going to do back loop single crochets for the next 2. And then a front loop double for that left part of the A. Okay, definitely starting to look like an A. Moving on to the S, I'm going to do a back loop single, front loop double. Okay, and now we're going to do back loop single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's the space in between the hashtag. There's the first part of the hashtag, we're going to do a double crochet, front loop double crochet to make the next part going up in the hashtag. Back loop single crochet, front loop double crochet, and then 3 back loop single crochets to the end of the row. Okay, chain 2, cut the yarn, pull it tight. Okay. DOWEVAS and then our hashtag. Oh, it's so pretty. Just makes my heart hurt. Okay, now we're switching back to orange. Let's pull up our pattern real quick. Okay, so we just finished row 6. Yes, now we're on row 7. So again, we're switching to color A, which is the background color. It's going to be my orange. And I'm going to start with 4 double crochets to cover those browns. Okay, grab the orange. I'm going to start with my slip knot. I'm going to slip stitch into the back loop only. And then I'm going to do a front loop only double crochet. So make sure you're going into that very first one right there. And then into the next 3 front loops. Okay, very nice. We don't want to mess up with the T, so we're going to go into the back loop for the next one. Okay, front loop for the next 2. You're going to go to the back loop for the next 3 because our O is finished. We're completely done with the O. Okay, our T is going to go one more up and have that top. There's our O. Let's do a front loop double crochet in the next one for the space between the O and the W. Oh, very nice. Okay, we're going to do a back loop, single crochet, front loop double crochet, back loop, single crochet, front loop double crochet, back loop, single crochet. Okay, for our W, we are going to do one more line here and one more line here. Okay, this is our E. You do need to make 1 double crochet to make the space between the E and the W. Okay, but this is going to be our line coming out of the E. So we're going to do one more front loop double crochet. Okay, now we're going to do 3 back loops. Okay, one more row with our E like that. So on one of these, I did the E incorrectly. So you can see here on this one, the E goes all the way out. On the real pattern, the E should only come out, just that one. So I should have done an extra stitch there. But again, doesn't need to be perfect. I think it looks fine either way, but it does look a little bit better, I think, when you do the extra stitch drop down. Okay, so that's that right there. Now we're going to do a double crochet in between the space between the V and the E. Okay, back loop single crochet for the V, 3 front loop double crochets to cover up those pieces. 1, 2, 3. Okay, back loop single on the other part of the V, and then front loop double in between the A and the V. And again, let's look at our V, make sure it looks nice and symmetrical. It does. Looking pretty good. It's just really interesting the way the pattern slowly reveals itself. Okay, we're going to do a back loop single for the right part of the A. We already did our line going across, so we're going to cover these up with front loop double crochets. A back loop single crochet, front loop double in between the S and the A. Okay, we're going to do our back loop singles because this is our S line going across. Okay, we're going to do, looks like 4 of them total. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're going to do our front loop double crochet, the space between the S and the hashtag. Back loop, single crochet, back loop, single crochet, back loop, single crochet, back loop, and then back loop. Oh, no, sorry, just one more. And then end it with 2 front loop double crochets. Okay. Our T, our O, our W, our E, our V, our A, our S, and the hashtag. Almost all done. I think we have just one more row of brown. Let's pop that up. Yep, so we can see we're on row 8. Actually, I think we only go up to row 10. I don't think we did row 11. We're on row 8, so we can see that's the last one that's going to be our B color. So cut off the orange. Sorry, chain 2. Pull it through, tighten it, and slide it on down. Okay, this is the last time we'll need our brown. All right, so we're going to start with back loops in 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, start with our slip knot. Okay, we're doing back loops only. So I'm going to do a standing single crochet into the back loop of the first stitch. And then in the next 3 stitches, 4 total. Okay, and then I'm going to do a front loop double crochet. Okay, we're going to do back loops all the way across the O. We're done with the O. We don't need anything with it, so just float on past. Okay, those will all get covered up in the next row. Okay, we're going to finish our W. So we'll do a front loop double crochet here. Okay, back loop single crochet, back loop single crochet, back loop single crochet, and finish it up with a front loop double crochet. Okay, so there's our W. And you can see this is the finished T as well. We just would cover those up. T-O-W. Okay, moving on to our E. So let's just do back loops all the way across till we get to the left side of the E. Okay, and we're going to do a double crochet in the front loop there. Okay, there's our finished E. Back loop single crochet in between the V and the E. front loop double crochet, finish up the right side. Okay, 3 back loop single crochets going across the V, and then a front loop double crochet on the left side of the V. Okay, there we go. The V is all done. Back loop single crochet in between the V and the A. Front loop double for the right side of the A. 2 back loop singles, and then a front loop double to complete the left side of the A. Okay, back loop in between the S and the A, and then the next 3 stitches to get us to the left side of the S. And then we're going to do a front loop double crochet to make that left side of the S. Very nice. Okay, we're going to do a back loop single, and the next 2 stitches. Okay, we're going to do a front loop double to finish off the right side of the hashtag. Back loop single, front loop double, and then back loop single in the next 3 stitches. That'll finish out that row. Chain 2, cut our yarn. Oops. Okay, tighten it and pull it. There we go. Okay, pretty good. Again, my tension is kind of sucky. Okay, so now we are done with the brown. We're going to do one more row in orange to cover up the brown pieces we don't need. And then we'll finish with a row of orange going across. Oops, sorry. That'll mimic the bottom here. Okay, again, it's going to be symmetrical on the top and bottom as well. As a math teacher, I like symmetrical things. All right, so we're going to do a single crochet, slip knot on our hook with the orange background color. All right, so now we are on row 9. Okay, so we're going to start with 2 front loop double crochets. So I'm going to slip stitch to the back loop only, and then I'm going to do a front loop double crochet once, and a front loop double crochet twice. Okay, pull it a little bit tight. Okay, I'm going to do a back loop single crochet all the way across my T. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have to cover up everything above the O. So 1, 2, 3, 4 front loop doubles. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can see the O and the T. All done. Okay, finish off the W. We're going to do a back loop single. And now we're going to cover up those next 3 with front loop doubles. That's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, back loop single. Okay, to finish off that W. Okay, do a front loop double, space in between the E and the W. Okay, then I'm going to do a back loop 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, front loop double in between the V and the E. Oops. Come on, orange. Go. Okay, looking good so far. Okay, back loop single for that the V. 3 front loop doubles to cover up that line. Back loop single, and then a front loop double in between the A and the V. And you can see in this version that lump's not nearly as noticeable as it was with that pink version. Okay, back loop single all the way across for the A. We need all those top lines. Okay, single crochet, sorry, front loop double crochet in between the S and the A. Back loop single all the way across the S. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Double crochet in the front loop. Double crochet in the front loop again. Okay, back loop single, front loop double, back loop single, and then 3 front loop doubles to the end of the row. Oh, it's so pretty. I think it turned out really good. All right, one more row we're going to do. Since we have our orange on our hook, we're just going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, and we're going to just do a single crochet in each stitch across. So as we do that, look at the back. Look how nice and neat it is. I think it looks really pretty. You got the little bit of texture too. But again, I think a good strategy would be to put a little felt cover on this. Just cover those up if need be. Or just leave it. Great thing about being creative is you get to choose what you do. Okay, if you're counting, you should have 45 stitches in this row. And hopefully it was not too tricky. Again, I think it looks harder and much scarier than it really is. Once you get the hang of the front loop, back loop binary system. And I think it kind of becomes intuitive, just knowing what shapes the letters make. And also, the more you practice, the better you get. There's always that. Again, this is my, I think, 5th or 6th one of these I've made. Okay, just a couple more stitches. Last one. Beautiful. I'm going to chain 2. Pull it tight and slide it on down. Okay, there we have it. Again, my tension is so crummy. Something I should definitely be working on, but I don't. If you wanted to secure these more, you could tie them to each other in a double knot before cutting them. They're pretty secure. But see, you can see they can get a little bit loose. So one thing I would suggest is just tying them to each other. So you would tie these first 2, and then tie the next 2, and then the next 2, and the next 2 all the way to the top. We can do that just real quick. And then we can cut them off and get a nice, cute little tapestry mug rug. or whatever you want it to be. Okay, so just tie it twice. I'm going to take the orange and tie it to the brown next door. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to take the brown, tie it to the orange. Just go on up the line. If you were going to super glue this or hot glue this to a piece of felt, you could just hide these underneath the glue in the back. You wouldn't have to do this if you didn't want to. The color should alternate. So if the next one's orange, I should be tying it to a brown. It's a good way to not get them all confuzzled in your brain, since they're kind of flip-flopping now. And then the last one, I think, was orange, honestly. I think I just lied because I think these two were oranges in a row. Okay, not too bad. And then I can just hold it right there and trim it like you would your hair, I guess. Yeah. Made it look worse. That's okay. So it's really up to you how you want to finish those off. I think if I took a little bit more time to do it, it's okay. I also want to block this anyway. So, all right. Well, there you have it. That is how we would finish out our Save What banner. Again, I posted the link for the alphabet. So if you wanted to do something else with this alphabet, it's really fun, really versatile. You can make lots of different things. I wanted to do one that is the Wheel of Time turns and you just come and pass. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to do one for Dutch Brothers. I would like to do one, excuse me, for my classroom that says my name or has some math words or I don't know, something like that would be kind of fun. I'm going to switch back to this view. There we go. All right. If you joined me for this, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can give this a try. If not, or no, if you do, please let me know. You can tag me at Mashiara Sadai on Instagram, or my crochet persona is Calfetti Crochet, or just tag Dragonmount because I can see those as well. I'd love to see if you've done any of these Dragonmount DIY patterns. I really enjoy doing them. So even if you're not doing them, I am still going to continue, but it does make me feel nice if you're following along or you're challenging yourself or being creative in a way you've never been before. It's definitely awesome to see that. So thank you again for joining me. Thank you, Rapunzel. I appreciate your support today. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you all later.